Welcome into the Sesquicentennial Commission's official County 250 Committee webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We have a special guest with us, of course, Bill Davies, who is our special Vice Chairman and County 250 Liaison. So say hello, Bill. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us.
If you need any help throughout this process, I'm the coordinator, Heather Hawkins, and Bill Davies will be glad to come out to you along with our executive director or other members of our commission to join you and support your efforts. We know that it's very important that the personal is powerful and that having each county represent the things that happened in their community is so important to celebrating this event. So let's talk a little bit about celebrating. Why are we celebrating this event? Why is it so important that we celebrate the American Revolution in South Carolina? Bill, do you want to talk a little bit to this for us?
Yeah, I would like to. If you read history books written prior to 1860, you'll find that the South is very prominently featured in the task of winning the Revolution. But after the Civil War, the South was written out of history. One of my favorite authors, David McCullough, wrote a book called 1776. It was a wonderful bestseller for a long time, allegedly covering everything important that happened in 1776. But even David McCullough skipped the Battle of Fort Sullivan, Fort Moultrie as we know it, which was the first defeat, a major defeat of the British Navy in over 250 years. If a wonderful historian like David McCullough forgets us or writes us out of the history books, we need to do something. And that's what we need to do now. We need to reclaim our heritage. The American Battlefield Trust hired a panel of independent historians and historical archaeologists and had a surprising result from them. They said that while Pennsylvania was very important in the Revolution, and so was New York, and even Boston with the Boston Massacre and all of that, that without what happened in the South, particularly in South Carolina, we probably wouldn't have won. And that's the heritage that we need to reclaim. And that's what we need to do in our education components of this process. We need you to help us reclaim that heritage and teach native South Carolinians of all ages and people from all over the world that come to visit us that we really were important in winning independence.
We have to reclaim that spot in history, and certainly excited about all the stories that will come out as we discover this revolutionary era. Everybody's going to have fireworks on July 4th, 2026. That is a very important date, but we also want to talk about this entire scope. We're going to go from 1770, which Bill just mentioned the Boston Massacre. Also, that's the end of British government in South Carolina, that early on. And then we're going to go all the way up to the Treaty of Paris, where they officially recognize the state or nation of South Carolina and the other states that have been formed. So we've got 2020 to 2033 as this era, and lots of anniversaries that we want to celebrate and to help you celebrate in your own community. One of the things we want to talk about is who's going to be on this committee. We are very excited. Thank you. You are the volunteers out there for joining and organizing the official County 250 committee. And here are the steps to do that we're going to talk about today. The first step is find out if there's another one already out there. We're soon going to have a page on our website where you can go and check out if we have official contacts for you. I have my little Highlander note there. There can be only one county committee, and we love that everybody comes together. We get more done together, so we appreciate everybody collaborating on these efforts. Step 2 is reach out to us. We'd love to meet you, come visit you in your community. So give us a call and we'll be glad to do that. And also that helps us if two different groups are trying to form at the same time. We want to make sure that everybody's coming to the table. Now, step 3 is gathering your stakeholders, and this is so important. We, of course, are going to start with those historic and heritage groups, in your community. We love our historians. They are so important to bring to the table. But there's also other people out there in your community, diversifying your skill sets. Think outside of that traditional group. Bring together maybe the social media student at your local college to the committee. Find that marketing guru or the business association. So bring lots of folks together and diversify that skill set. And we also want to make sure that we're including the entire county, not just the city, because a lot of these events will have taken place out in the rural community where the cows are probably in the pasture now. We also want to make sure we're being intentionally inclusive. This is very important to SC250. And Bill, I'd love for you to talk about why that's such an important part of what we're doing.
One of the things that the committee has decided that we want to do is to tell the stories of everyone, all the types of people who lived in the colony at that time of South Carolina, from 1770 to 1783, as Heather said. That means we tell the stories of the people who fought against the king, the men who fought against the king, and the men who fought for the king. But we also want to tell the story of the unrepresented or underrepresented groups in other history books, particularly the women and children in South Carolina. All over the state, this was a very uncivil war, and there was a lot of just very bad incidents that occurred by both sides. The history is not always pretty, but we need to tell those stories of the women who were left to handle the farm and worry about being burned out by their neighbors. We want to tell the story of all the peoples of color. We need to tell the story of the freed and enslaved persons of African descent. And this was an integrated war with African Americans or African descendants fighting on both sides with the other people in the service. And we need to tell the stories of the Native Americans, the Cherokee, the Creek somewhat, but mainly the Cherokee, the Catawba, and other native tribes to South Carolina. In about every battle that you can read about in South Carolina, there would have been persons of African descent and Native Americans, possibly on both sides. We need to tell all those stories. And to do that, we need to have people who represent the interests of all of those people. So that's very important. And anytime you get together a county effort, you need to have geographical diversity. You need to be sure that you include officials from your municipalities as well as officials from whatever your main county seat is. We can help you with all that. We have suggestions. Look at museums, look at heritage groups, look at if a larger town might have a tourism bureau. Look at all of those things, and we're happy to help you on an individual basis in that regard.
And as Bill's talked about, we're talking about education during this time period and cultural tourism. Those are our two big pushes for the commission. So find people in those fields, get your educators, gather in your tourism experts, as he just mentioned. So it's important to bring lots of folks to the table for your committee. So step 4, after you've gathered this group, is to write all their information down. This way we all stay connected and on the same page. And there's a couple things here. If the first thing you do for your community is figure out who's going to be that external contact. If we have on our website someone that they can reach out to if they're interested in volunteering, that could be the local museum who's agreed to collect information and pass it on to your group. It could be the county, it could be an individual, but figure out that person first. Go ahead and send that to me first thing immediately. That way I can get it on the website and other people can find you. The second primary contact is going to be that internal contact. This is going to be probably your chairman of your committee or a primary person that's going to help communicate and disseminate information out to your group. This is internal. I will not be sharing this person's personal information out on our website, but it is good to have all their personal information so we keep the connection there for getting you information from SC250. And then finally list your committee members They will be signed up for our e-news. They can, of course, unsubscribe, but it's important to keep everybody connected. So I appreciate the contact information spreadsheet being filled out. There is another section on there in my sample one that includes your VIPs in your community and your local press. I've tried to gather as much of that as possible, but I love to have your insight and your contact information. That way, when we send out a press release for your community, we can have the right people on that list. So step 4 is completing that contact information. Step 5, give your committee an official name. This example you have on your screen is from Beaufort. So they're the Beaufort County 250 Committee. That is our recommendation, to have kind of uniformity between the counties, but it is your committee, so you can name it something else if you'd like. And then pass a county resolution. Now, there's been some folks who have a little concern about, does this mean we have to have monetary support? It does not. It's, of course, lovely, and we encourage you to ask them for that. But this first resolution just says we support the efforts of this committee, and we are naming this group that's gotten together. And this does not mean that they appoint these people. It just means that we're saying this group that has come together and come to us for support, we are dubbing them the official group for our county, and we are supporting their efforts. Bill, would you like to talk a little bit about the importance of working with kind of a person that's kind of the sponsor or the guru for the county resolution?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. What we found is with county councils, just like with any governmental group that has multiple members, it's always good if you can get someone who is already a member of that group to start understanding everything, where that person can answer questions within the group, like the county council. We found that if you can get one member of the council and educate that person, then she or he can work on the other council members before you even go before them. Similarly, if you can get municipal officials, elected officials, they can have the same impact. But it may be that whoever your county, whoever your organizing group is, one of them knows a council member. That's the way you can get input into it. And when you have the meetings in front of the council, you want to have a lot of people come. Get your supporters to show up for that county council meeting. All of a sudden, a county council meeting, which normally has about 8 people in the audience, has 40 people. And the county council, they react. They're individuals. They're humans. They react to the fact that, hey, there are people all across our county who really are interested in this thing, and we ought to make it work. So I think it's really important having that preparation before you have your hearing before the county council.
Great advice, Bill, and you're absolutely right. They see, oh wow, my constituents are interested in this, and I think that's really important. So in the end, what you're going to turn in to me to become official as the official County 250 committee is turn in that resolution, turn in that contact spreadsheet, and you are registered. And that's exciting, and we're so excited. We have several of them already started. What's next then after you've become official? Plan for your County 250 organizing grant. This is a non-competitive grant, which means that every county is eligible for one, and it's $3,000. And that's not a ton of money, but it's a little kickstart. And it also, by gathering all the information you'll need for this first grant, you'll have everything you need when we launch our many other grants that we are looking to launch very soon. Things to think about as you get ready to apply for this grant: the fiscal agent. There's information on this on our website about what it means to be the fiscal agent. When you apply for a grant, the fiscal agent is actually the one who signs the grant contract or the grant agreement, because they will be managing the money. So figuring out who that fiscal agent can be, and if you need some advice on that, we'll be glad to help you with that. That's very important in this process. We also have a list of approved projects for this County 250 organizing grant, such as, and I really encourage a strategic plan. If you're just getting started, spend your money on bringing somebody in to help organize your group strategic plan. And I think that's a great way to start. But if you're already started and you have a project in mind, there is an other category, so you can choose other as your official approved project, and then describe that project in that application. I encourage everybody to get registered in the web grants system so that you can get in there and look at the sections. Don't be overwhelmed. There is an additional webinar that walks you step by step through that process, and I'd be glad to come in person or do a WebEx meeting with you and walk you through the application process. But again, please go ahead and get registered on the Discover SC Web Grants program and make sure that you're ready to apply. So again, I'm Heather Hawkins, and Bill Davies is our vice chair. And anything else you'd like to say, Bill, to encourage our wonderful volunteers out there who are watching this today?
Yeah, I'd like to encourage you to make me busy, get me involved. I'm happy to meet with the person that wants to organize this. I'm happy to come to you, have a meeting like this on with show and tell, whatever you call this. I'm old. Or a telephone conference call, but I'd really prefer to meet with you in person. I don't mind coming to your county more than once. I don't mind presenting. I have a formal presentation I can make to a group of you for it lasts about 20 minutes. I can also come back and make that same presentation in front of the county council. Whatever you think is important, I'd be happy to do. Just get in touch with me. Scheduling is somewhat of an issue, but we can make it work. I promise. We want this to happen. We want you on our side. We can't do it without you. So this is important. We think we can bring a lot of money into South Carolina with this tourism issue and educate a lot of people. Please get in touch with us.
And one of the great places to do so is to, of course, go to our website, and there's lots of information here. I wanted to show everybody under Get Involved at SouthCarolina250.com, Get Involved County 250 Committee. And if you just click on that main link there, it should take you to our description page, and then it will give you all these other options here on the side. You can learn more about webinars, and we do have a plan to have a series of webinars in the next year as well, in addition to the ones that we've already recorded. And there's other things like telling a more complete story, or funding and basic fiscal guidance, which tells you more about that fiscal agent and state procurement policies. And lots more information. Those steps that we just went through are right here on the screen. You can go back through them. There's a link for that contact spreadsheet sample and a link for your county resolution sample. You can also learn more about the County 250 organizing grants, and very, very soon we will have our county handbook ready to go so that you can take notes and learn more about the steps to process. Here's the County 250 organizing grant. This gives you that list of approved projects. And I do want to mention that there is officially a deadline on here. This is just for this fiscal year's paperwork. We will reopen after this date. We will reopen the process for the 23 fiscal year, which only means that your check would not be able to come until 23 fiscal, which is July 1. But you can certainly continue to apply after this date, one per county. So you can't apply both fiscal years, but you can apply if you've not already done so after this date. Lots of helpful links, including how to register on the Discover SC Web Grants program and how to submit your application in the Discover SC Web Grant program, is all here, along with some other handy links. And you can go ahead and apply and register for the Web Grants program so you can get in there and take a look at all there is to do. But again, SouthCarolina250.com is a great place for you to go and check out all that we have to help you in this process. Thank you, everybody who's been with us today, and we appreciate all that you've done with us so far, and we appreciate your volunteering. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.